Most people think that stopping fear of anxiety means they'll suddenly be able to control it or get rid of it whenever it shows up. But the truth is very different, because real freedom from anxiety isn't about fighting it off. It's about realizing it's not a threat in the first place. Now, if that sounds hard to understand or difficult to accept, then you need to watch this video. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Box, and for the last 15 years or so, I've been helping people get back in control of their emotional responses and develop a better relationship with their own mind. Much of that work inevitably is centered around anxiety. I wrote a book about it, I gave a TED talk about it, and when it comes to anxiety, one of the most important shifts that every client I see has to go through is this. They need to stop fearing anxiety itself. Now that might sound obvious. Of course you want to stop fearing it. It's very probably regarded by you as the big bad in your life right now. But most people misunderstand exactly why getting rid of the fear is so important and what it actually means to do it. So let me explain. The reason it's so important to stop fearing anxiety is because the fear of anxiety itself is what keeps the whole cycle alive. When people talk about being stuck with anxiety, they're not usually anxious about a real life issue anymore. They're anxious about being anxious. That's what's often called second fear. It's that moment when we feel an anxious sensation, and instead of just noticing it and moving on, we go, oh no, here it is again. What if this never goes away? What if I can't cope? And here's the problem. The moment we treat anxiety as if it's a genuine threat, our mind believes it must be something dangerous and ramps up our focus on it even more. That's the feedback loop. Anxiety makes us uncomfortable, so we fear the discomfort. That fear creates more discomfort, which we then fear even more. Round and round and round we go. This is why stopping the fear of anxiety is such a game changer, because the moment we stop treating it as a threat, we break the loop. We allow those sensations and thoughts to come and go naturally without adding any fuel to the fire. So we can see the importance of stopping any fear of anxiety in its tracks, but doesn't that just make it seem more threatening? Well, it doesn't have to. But to make the transition, we need to first understand what we mean by no longer fearing anxiety. To explain this part, I probably need to make a comparison. So I don't just work with clients for anxiety issues, I help with all sorts of issues, including a fair amount of work on fears and phobias. When people come to see me for a fear of spiders, they'll often think that once they're no longer afraid, it'll mean they'll feel confident that if they see a spider in their house, they'll feel okay to catch the spider and throw it outside. But that's not what actually happens. When they're free of that fear, genuinely free, if and when they see a spider in the corner of the room, they're happy for it to just sit there. They no longer feel the need to get rid of it. Why? Because it's no longer a threat. They only felt the need to do something about it because they weren't comfortable with it just sitting there. Once they're no longer afraid, they're really not concerned where it goes or for how long it stays there. It's harmless. And that's exactly the same with anxiety. Most people think getting rid of anxiety is the goal. They imagine some future state where they never feel anxious again. But anxiety isn't a malfunction, it's an emotion, a natural, healthy signal that your mind is pointing you towards something important. It's not supposed to disappear. There will always be things that we need to focus on. Some major, some minor. As a result, sometimes anxiety will be high, sometimes not so much. But it's supposed to be there sometimes. Just like joy, sadness, or excitement. The problem only comes when we treat one of our emotions as if it's a threat. When we fear it, we start fighting with it. We try to eliminate it, suppress it, or outsmart it. And the more we try to fight, the more important it becomes in our mind. And the more anxious we feel as a result. So what does it actually mean to stop fearing anxiety? It means that when those anxious thoughts or sensations show up, you don't have to get rid of them. You don't need a coping strategy or a trick or a distraction. And just like the spider in the corner of the room, you don't have to do anything about it. So what's the effect of this? What actually happens when we stop trying to resist anxiety as if it represents a threat? Well, here's the thing. When you stop fighting anxiety, you actually create the conditions for it to pass much more quickly. It's the struggle that keeps it alive, not the feeling itself. And you might be thinking at this point that anxious sensations and thoughts are hard to ignore because they feel like a threat. But in this instance, the way it feels is not the way it is. It's actually only your fear of feeling anxious that causes those thoughts and sensations to get out of hand and hit with such intensity. Recognizing that process for what it is, a healthily functioning threat response, reacting to a mistaken idea that there's something going wrong with us, well, that's what allows us to be aware of anxiety without then having to further fuel the flames by telling ourselves the story that it's a danger to us. So real recovery doesn't mean you never feel anxious again. It means you don't fear feeling anxious. Not because you've found the ability to be courageous in the face of threat, but because you realize there is no threat. And when that happens, anxiety stops feeling like something outside of your control. And if you'd like to dive deeper into this and other ideas that help improve your relationship with anxiety, then check out the members area of this channel where I share hours of exclusive content. This includes my full anxiety program and weekly live Q&A sessions where I answer your questions directly. Just click the join button on the channel homepage or use the link in the description. So here's the takeaway. Stopping fear of anxiety doesn't mean you learn to control it or instantly remove it. It means you understand it's not dangerous in the first place. Like the spider in the corner of the room, it can stay, it can go. It doesn't matter, because either way, you're fine. That's what real freedom is. It's not freedom from anxious thoughts or sensations, but freedom from the fear of them. That's it for this one. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for weekly advice and support. I'm Tim Box. Always remember, be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.